If you're thinking of giving up on Japanese, you should watch this video. Hey guys, I'm Cheyenne and welcome to my channel. So in this video, I want to give you guys a little bit of motivation in terms of studying Japanese, because I know studying Japanese can be really difficult, but it's worth it, especially if your goal is to be fluent or to live in Japan or to speak with other Japanese people or to even watch anime. Like, whatever your goal is, studying and Japanese and seeing it through is worth the effort and the struggle that you're going through. Even if you have to take a break from Japanese, that's okay. As long as you keep going and you don't give up completely, that's totally fine. So you may be feeling stagnant or just overwhelmed or feeling like Japanese is just too hard to learn. So I'm gonna share some tips on what you can do when you're at that breaking point in your language learning journey. So tip number one is to try language learning apps. So if you're already learning from apps like Duolingo or Lingodeer or something like that, I would highly suggest trying a new language learning app. There's a bunch of Japanese language learning apps because Japanese is like so popular. So I would recommend just trying to search for a new app, like maybe go on Reddit, or I'll link below some apps, or just Google like top 10 language learning apps. I also have a video where I rated most of the apps, so try to find like a different app that's not the usual ones that you use, because that can like break up the monotony of studying using the same app and like trying to, you know, like it could become mundane by doing that. So that's why it's better to like spice it up and try a new app. So hopefully this tip will work for you. And if you're not an apps type of person, like you prefer to learn through textbooks or something physical, then I would suggest trying to buy a new textbook, a completely different type of textbook. Like there's, again, just like with the many apps, there's also many textbooks that you can use. And again, I'll link below some of the textbooks that you can get. And yeah, it can just help you relearn what you've already learned, and then instead of like using like Genki or some other textbook, you can just use a completely different one. And it's just really helpful because it's kind of like you're going back to the basics in a way. And I know that when you first start out learning Japanese, it becomes like so much fun, so it could reignite that passion and that love for learning that you had just by using a different textbook or a different app. Another really helpful tip, and this isn't really a study tip, but it could just be helpful to hold yourself accountable and to make Japanese learning more fun, and that is to join some type of meetup group or group chat where everyone is studying Japanese together. If you're not already a part of a group like that, you may want to start now, because you don't want to study Japanese alone. Like, I remember I had like an Instagram account that's kind of inactive, and I was just sharing my Japanese journey and I was studying on my own. And then someone actually reached out to me and was like, hey, do you want to be Japanese study buddies? And that was really fun because I picked up on so much Japanese just by learning, and it made Japanese so much better. Like, instead of being on this little island on my own, I was actually with a friend that had the same passion for Japanese as I did, and that just made the process so much more fun and so much more enjoyable. And yeah, it was just really nice. So I would highly recommend that you find some type of study buddy or some type of group chat that you can join, because that's really going to help you continue your journey in studying Japanese and just being more consistent and actually enjoying the process. Another step that you can take with Japanese if you feel like giving up or you feel stagnant is to reframe your goals. Like, maybe your goal was to be like N1 in 3 months, which it may be possible, but for most of us that's not very realistic. So I would suggest maybe making goals a little bit more tangible, something that you know you can do. Like for me, I made a lot of goals that was like really hefty and lofty, and I had to reframe them. And now I have more realistic goals. Like one of my goals, for example, is to just watch Japanese videos, at least one, since I watch YouTube a lot. Like I can just incorporate learning Japanese into my YouTube daily routine, and yeah, like I can just, that goal is very realistic for me since I watch YouTube a lot. So just do something that fits your personality, that's already in your daily routine, and just make something that is actually, that you will actually see through and that you'll actually do. Another step that you can take is to reach out for help. So you can get tutoring or reach out just for native speakers. You can reach out to them through like YouTube. Like there's a lot of teachers, Japanese teachers on YouTube that have websites and offer classes and tutoring services. So you can just search for them on YouTube and click on the links that they have in their description, and then see if they're able and available to help you out. But that could be a really good way to reinforce what you're already learning. Or if you have a Japanese teacher, like if you're learning Japanese in school or college, or just like taking Japanese classes in your local area, you can just try and reach out to them and see if they can give you some one-on-one help or some support and things like that. Another tip is to remember why you're even studying Japanese in the first place. Like, what is your overall goal? What is the purpose of studying? Like, I'm sure you have some type of purpose. It doesn't have to be something that's super grand or super deep, but it's just something that means something to you, and that's personal and that gets you up in the morning. Just focus on those goals and focus on that purpose, because when you look at the big picture, that really helps you do the small things like studying. Because in the grand scheme of things, like studying once a day isn't that hard or that big of a deal in terms of your major goal, which is maybe to be fluent, maybe to speak Japanese, maybe to read manga, things like that. So yeah, just focus on your big purpose and your why. So those are pretty much all of the tips that I could offer. I hope that one of them could help you. But I also just want to give some encouraging words. And one thing that I want to say is that you can't fail at Japanese. Like, yeah, maybe if you took a Japanese class and you failed, technically you failed that class, but you can't really fail at a language. Like, you may forget some words or some grammar or like how to say things or like how to pronounce things, but there's really no such thing as failure when it comes to learning a language. You just have to get back up and keep going. So if you feel like you're failing at Japanese, you're not. So don't be so hard on yourself, and don't think about how hard Japanese is. Like for me personally, when I took on this challenge of studying Japanese, which is like a lifelong journey because you never stop learning, I never thought about how hard it would be to study Japanese. I just jumped right in. And that's what you have to do. Like, you just have to jump right in. You just have to go through it and do what you need to do to reach your ultimate goal, whatever that goal may be. So yeah, so just know that you're not a failure, and even if you feel stagnant or you feel stuck, you can get yourself out of it. So I hope this video was helpful and encouraging. I hope some of my tips helped, at least one of them. And thank you so much for watching this video. Bye!